What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to do a Scream live stream. It's been, oh God, maybe 3-4 weeks since I've last done one. I promised I wouldn't stop, and then I kind of did stop, but no, I'm back. And I want to talk about all the rumors. We've made individual videos kind of on everything that's come out with, Jenna Ortega, that huge rumor. The filming schedule is this thing going on in early 2024. So just wanted to kind of do it live, talk about Scream 7, talk about Scream 6 or anything else. I was also considering, you guys can let me know either in the chat or, in the comments afterwards watching the video. I want to do, I know like, Steven and even like Jake and some of them, they've done things where they even do like a live stream on a specific topic, or I know Jake will do like, he'll rank all the Ghostface killers and that'll be kind of like an event. I'm up for doing things like that if people want. I was considering doing a stream just talking about Scream 1 and just having that be the entirety of the live stream. So if you guys are interested in that, again, whether it's in the chat or in the comments afterwards, you let me know. And I'm a man of the people, so we'll try to do it. I also have ranking videos going on that will be happening for the Scream franchise. And then we just patiently wait for Scream 7. So how's it going, everybody? Welcome in. If there's anything you want to talk about, of course, just write it in the chat. I'll put this banner up. Just the casual, super chats go to the front, but I try to read every single comment humanly possible, in all of these live streams that I do. So I'm scared Scream 7 won't happen. Well, let's start there. I think Scream 7, like 1,000%, right? It's going to happen. Obviously, the issue is the timing of when you film it. So the viewer anon thing, and then I wanted to give some credibility to that. What was it, cinema stealth or whatever, that one rumor that we watched or reacted to, that talked about how there was some hope that maybe they'd be able to film this thing in the fall, but now it's looking more like early to mid next year. I want to believe that the beginning of that statement, that the rumor for the fall, viewer anon's rumor. So I want to believe that that's where that came from. At this point, yeah, and also I guess he hasn't said anything since it's happened, right? So that October thing, that they wanted to try to film by October, doesn't really seem like that's a possibility at this point. Or I would like for him to kind of re-say it or say anything that he's heard. Obviously, the writing strike, but see, the issue with the writer's strike, from everything that we've seen kind of back and forth on Twitter, I know Critical Overlord did a video like a week ago. There's a rumor that the script was already written, and then yet in that other rumor that talks about early to mid 2024, that rumor is the writer's strike is slowing it down. So the thing is, already we have proof that Radio Silence, like specifically Radio Silence, they will film something if the script is already done. That's because they're doing the one right now, with Melissa Barrera. So and I think what the rumor is that Frankenstein's daughter or Dracula's daughter or whatever it's going to be. So by the way, I'm very excited for that. But they've already proven that if the script is done, they're basically willing to film it. Now maybe they're not willing to film like a Scream film unless they have the writers kind of like on call just in case. But I don't know. So hopefully, but it just goes back and forth. Like that rumor just goes back and forth, because if the script is done, then you can film it. And then the question is, okay, well, the main issue there would then be the talent. Would be Jasmine, would then be Jenna. The Jasmine thing was interesting too. I don't know if you guys saw that one with Jasmine Savoy Brown, that because she's a regular on Yellow Jackets, that's basically given priority. So if they were filming like at the same time, she'd have to do Yellow Jackets over Scream, which would be nuts. It'd be nuts. It's kind of scary just because the writer's strike, with everybody kind of getting popular like at the same time. I mean, I wasn't around I was born in 96, but I wasn't like on the internet and stuff in like the late 1990s. So I don't know how the popularity of the core went, but also because you only had 3 of them, and Courtney she was already pretty popular. Nev was getting more and more popular, and obviously you had a problem with the situation, the filming situation for 3. I think it's just kind of bigger now because, like, I think Jenna is kind of bigger than like anything. But then also like Melissa Barrera is now just starting to catch on because of I honestly believe it's because of Scream 6 that she's starting to catch on. But now she's doing all these projects. Jasmine was kind of doing both. I guess it's really just those three. But you never know when somebody like takes a chance on like Mason or I don't know. I mean, I guess out of the rest of the reoccurring cast, I think they'd all be willing to do it. So I don't know. Melissa still can't really act, but I'd say it's a mix of some cheesy lines and can act. I disagree. I disagree. Maybe I mean I'll have to watch Scream 6 again. I still haven't watched it beyond the 2 times in theaters. I thought she was phenomenal. I thought she was that's coming from somebody who really did not like her in 5. But going into I don't know, maybe around this summertime. Like I watched 5 right before 6 came out. So when I get 6 with the steel case or whatever, I'm gonna try to do 5 and 6 back to back. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Why is there a writer's strike every 10 to 12 years? I think that's when the contract ends, right? So they sign like a in pro sports it'd be like a CBA, right? Collective bargaining agreement. So you would sign that, and then it's just until the end of that, and then everybody gets upset at each other, and then they do it all over again. So I don't know. Did they sign like a 15-year deal? Because wasn't the last strike, was it 2007? Something around there. So signed it then. And then what, 15 years? Or maybe they had already done this, but they did reach an agreement in some sort of a midterm. I don't know. We can talk a little bit about the writer's strike if you guys want to. I don't think people will love things that I say. Look, I believe let's just do it. I believe writers deserve their pay. I know a lot of things have not been modernized with writers and they're just trying to catch up. Well, at least some of what they're trying to do is just catch up. I'm just as fearful of AI as they are. Maybe they're a little bit more fearful because it's literally their job, but I totally agree with kind of kicking AI out and making sure it doesn't replace writers. But you got to be careful, these writers, because they talk so much about their importance that they're the most important thing when it comes to making television or movies and stuff. But then when the things are bad, when we've had just overall pretty horrible quality television, streaming things, movies, like, okay, so that comes down to you, the writers, then, right? So why would we want you back? You need some writers, but you don't need all of them. So I don't know. I think it's a bad time to like ask for things because Hollywood has no money anymore. They're completely, dried up, and the quality is absolutely around, like all around. Maybe there is some here and there. There absolutely is. There's great television shows. There's great movies, but consistent quality all the way around is completely not there. So to pick now to be the time that you want to, ask for raises and all that stuff. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. But at the same time, Hollywood is so far behind with the streaming service and all that stuff. So it's tough. And eventually somebody's going to have to cave because these writers can't survive on nothing when they all live in like LA where it costs like $20,000 a month to live. So they need money. And then on the other side, Hollywood, I mean, they can do things without them, but I think it's limited, and I think eventually they will need the writers. So that'll be an issue. That'll be a big issue. Do you think they'll make more movies after Scream 7? I do. I think I will say I think it's still Scream is a franchise that I think literally depends on it goes one movie to the next. So I think when they made 5, the goal was to make a trilogy, but you truly have to wait till the next one. I think that's just the situation that they're in. And and I believe now after 6 that they look at it as longer than 7. You know what I mean? I don't know if they thought that with 5. I think when 5 came out or was coming out, they said, okay, we want a trilogy, but we cannot promise it, any of that stuff because we literally have to wait one at a time. Now after 6, I think they will do the trilogy and then they'll keep going maybe with a different group, so not Radio Silence. That's what I think they want, but I still think they need to wait until, or what they will do is wait till Scream 7. So they will wait till 7 to come out. If it makes about as much as 6, maybe slightly less, maybe slightly more, then there will be more. And I think it'll be a quick turnaround. I don't think it'll be 6, 7, 8 years. I think it'll be like 3 or 4 years later. So that's what I think they want to do. But you have to wait. Like they have to wait for 7, which is maybe why we've never gotten a game, to be honest with you. So I don't want to talk about. I want to keep it on Scream, but to answer your question really quickly, I don't think it'll be like Avengers. I thought Sam and Scream 6 was incredible. Agreed. I feel like there's going to be 10 Scream movies. Yeah. At this point, I mean, you're going to get 7 and then 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I think that's kind of likely. But you know what's so odd? I mean, the more that they go, like 4 is such. I mean, we got Kirby from it, so that's very powerful. And 4 is one of my favorites, and you get Jill from it and all that stuff. But and you get Kirby long term. But 4 is like just so misplaced now, right? Because it was supposed to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and because of 4 being that one, then 5 is the start of a new trilogy, and that's like such a. How many times does that even happen? How many times has a movie franchise started a trilogy on 5? Because you would think it normally would start on 4 or on 7, right? How many times does it start on 5? Which means you would need a movie franchise that has had a successful trilogy, then a failed one, and then rebooted and it worked, and then you go from there. You know what I mean? How many times is a 5th movie in a franchise? I don't know if you guys know. Is there any? I don't know the answer myself, but I wonder how many times a 5th movie in any franchise has started a new trilogy. That'll be an interesting find. Stumacher and Stumacher and Scream 7. Do you think it'll happen? No, I don't. I think one day you could see him like as a flashback or something. Like I think they could legitimately do that. I'm pretty sure the core 4 are under contract for a trilogy. Paramount didn't want to make the same mistake. Yes, I think Jenna will be in 7, no doubt in my mind. Good point, Carl. I think I think you left that comment in a video right recently. I agree with you. I think going into 5, how don't you sign at least the 4 of them? Or I mean, okay, to even be more real, how do you not sign at least the 2 of them, Melissa and Jenna, to the trilogy? Unless they truly like didn't see it coming. Because I mean, I don't know, Jenna was somewhat getting there, but she wasn't mega popular with Scream 5. It was really, Wednesday. That's what really did it. You know what I mean? So maybe, and some of these people in Hollywood are not smart. You know what I mean? They are not smart people. So did they really think ahead? You could also just say from a business side of things, you could imagine them signing them to a 3-picture deal. I think that's pretty accurate. Strike could last for a while, especially if the other guild joined them. Yeah, I saw the one with talking about like the Actors Guild. Now, if the actors strike, then I think Hollywood kind of has to cave, right? Considering you can't do like now you could make the argument however you want. You can make the argument that actors, some of them are also not very talented, right? So you could say that, but at the same time, you could have AI write the scripts, which I don't want literally at all. More realistically, you could just get writers that are not part of the Writers Guild. Like that's what you really, the union. That's really what you could do. Or you could take them from like just have all anime come over. You know what I mean? Don't touch it. Just let that anime still be as good and just bring it over. They could do that, I guess, in like the short term to get over it. But like if you don't also have actors, then you really have stopped, because right now you can still film the movies that were already written. But if you have the actors go on strike, well then what are you going to do? Then you literally have nothing. And Hollywood, I actually think that's probably the best way to end this, because I don't think Hollywood can. What's the word? Survive. I don't think it could survive. Like, go like 2 months without a movie, and I don't think Hollywood can do it. I think they don't have money, so I don't know how that would work. If there's an 8 Cream, I think it'll be an anthology with new characters, and that'd be neat. See, I think you could do that with a television show, and I think you do that with a game, to be honest with you. It's it'll depend. Here's what it'll depend on. I guess it'll depend on probably the executives at the end of the day. But like whoever they get as like the new team for Scream, didn't mean for that to rhyme. the new team, what do they value? Do they value and want to do something that continues to stem from like the thing that came before it? So do you still continue the Sydney thing, which leads into the Sam thing? Like, is that still your backstory, your history, or do you want to kind of start fresh? It could be. I think it's probably up to like the executives. Like, they will look for a team that wants to do their vision. You know what I mean? Ultimately, so I think that is what will depend. And if they don't want to do the, well, let's just continue it, then yeah, I think an anthology thing actually makes a lot of sense. But I think in the short term, or even you could do it at the same time, make a game, make a freaking game, make a show and do it. I mean, they did it with the show, technically, to be honest with you. Maybe that's why they don't want to do it, because the show, I think it worked, but I mean, the viewership wasn't really there. So I guess maybe it didn't work. Melissa and Jenna are selling really well with 5 and 6, so they should bring Sydney back or move on from and continue the franchise with Jenna and Melissa. No, I think they should. I mean, as I've said before, I want Sydney back, like, for sure. But I think it's Jenna and Melissa's franchise right now, and I think you at least give them 7. You know what I mean? I think you can have all of it. Scream 7 needs to happen in Hollywood. It probably. I think it'll have something to do with Hollywood, even if it's not set in Hollywood, to be honest. Funny, I like Scream 5. I didn't get the hate. I still don't. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I like it. I don't hate it by any means. I didn't really like Sam's character. Chad is literally non-existent. And some of the copycat stuff from 1 to 5 didn't do it fully with me, but when will you be talking about Pirates of the Caribbean again? Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. To be real, Jeffrey, to be honest, I think I talk about it more, but I just don't like the videos don't really do all that well. So I kind of have to wait for like the big things to happen. If they ever announce a Pirate 6 with JD, I will 1,000%, trust me. Pirates will become like a Scream-like thing on this channel. I would talk about it so much. So hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. I wish they never killed off David Arquette, because they essentially fired him. He said in a documentary he's been rejected for 10 years in Hollywood, and Scream is kind of all he's got. Ooh, ouch. He does like smaller stuff. He does smaller stuff. Scream 7 will be the final film for the legacy cast. Possible. I think it's the same as what I just said. I think because you're like radio silence has made it crystal clear that as long as Nev wants to do it, I mean, if they can make the money work, but as long as Nev or Courtney like want to do it, they will write them in. Now, you could argue, like, is that best for their character? Is like, would the quality be there? You could argue for sure, and I would not disagree. But they said that, right? So that carries into 7. But then the issue is when you have 8, and yes, you would have like another creative team. Do they share the same? You know what I mean? Do they share the same thing? Do they also come in and say, yeah, as long as those 2 want to do it, we'll find a spot for them? Or do they come in and say, nah, it's over? At the same time, it also still, I think, goes based off of money, like, greed and finances and all that stuff run the world. If Scream were to ever take a downturn, right? Like if 7 did awful or something, the only way I think you bring back Scream, just like how you bring back most things, you again have to milk kind of the original. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know if you want, a 65-year-old. It would be like Halloween. I guess it would literally be like Halloween, right? So, but that's like an alternate universe, because Scream, I think, has been a higher quality over a long period of time. And, 4 obviously didn't make a lot of money, but besides that, they've all done really well. So if in an alternate reality, they just did not do well, or 7 did not do well, and then you wanted to make an 8, which would probably just be called Scream again in like 5 years, you would try to bring, I think, Nev Campbell back. You know what I mean? So I don't think they're ever done with it until they're dead. Like the actual, like, Nev Campbell's gone. I don't think they're ever really done with it, because I think there's always kind of the potential that they bring them back through the power of money. You offer somebody enough money, I think they would do it. I think like Jamie Lee Curtis would do it, even though I don't know, as she said, she's like fully done. I think she would do it for the right paycheck. Oh my god. I like how you that's really clever of getting all the numbers and stuff in. I love it. But then you have to go you have to go Roman numerals at some point. I still think the only thing that will push Sam, not Sham, Sam to the dark side will be losing Tara. So maybe they could just have Jenna do a few scenes since she's busy. See, that's the thing too, right? Like if Jenna can't do it, and I mean, and I've said this before. Let me say it here. The thing that upsets me with really all mediums of entertainment, but I think you get a pretty pure form of it in games. Okay, generally, not all the time, but generally, the thing that upsets me, I guess, in film and television is kind of like the things behind the scenes like that. I always am intrigued to get the most pure version of the product. So that would mean like Scream 3. I don't think they only wanted Nev. Now I like Scream 3. And I actually like it more and more over time. But Scream 3, I'd like to see the original version. So I guess that also means like the Stu cuts, right? Like the Stu concept. But it also means I would want such a pure version where they get it their way. So they didn't want Nev for 3 weeks. They probably wanted her the entire time, right? What does that film look like? I don't know if that film is better or worse than what we got, but I'm always like, it's just my mind. I'm interested in what that is. So to go into this Jenna thing, I want the most pure version. So I do not want, even though it would be interesting to see it, and it would be the version you would see. So say she can't do it, or say she can only film for like 2 weeks. That is not the version of Scream 7 they wanted, right? So I want to see, okay, well, what would have changed if you had Jenna? She wasn't popular, but she's still just as talented. What would change? How would that movie look? Where she's in just as many scenes as you want her to be in. Honestly, I could argue the same thing for. I had a good analogy. Scream 6. I want the Nev Campbell version. I don't know if it's better than what we got. Maybe it's worse. Could be. But I want to know, and not even know. I want to see what scenes was she going to be in, what litter, everything. I want to know what changed because she wasn't there. Because ultimately, that wasn't the pure original like intent of the film. It wasn't. You can't argue. That's why, people that say, well, they wrote her off at the end of Scream 5. She had her goodbye. No, they didn't. They did not. That's factually incorrect. They did not write her off. You want to know why? Because the writers literally said after that we were writing her into Scream 6. So they did not write her off. You know what I mean? So that's how my mind works. Like I said, I think I get that generally more because of games. Games are a little bit more pure, but they're not fully pure because there's still sacrifices. There's still things that are cut. There's still executives that tell the team what to do versus just letting them do it. There's all sorts of things like that. But movies, I think, are much worse. Movies, there's all sorts of meddling, and you may not be able to get the person that you wanted, or they may not be able to be there, to a T, the schedule that you want. So, yeah, they could. I mean, the short answer to not, I mean, I like to go on rants, but the short answer is, yeah, if Jenna is busy, do they change the concept of the movie to have Tara die? And how would that affect Sam? That may actually be a better film than having Tara survive it and being in 5 times the scenes. It could be the better film, but it's not what they wanted to do. That would not have been the original idea. So show me the original idea because that's what I don't know. That's what you're kind of selling it on. So there you go. It would be cool. Yes, I mean, like I said, one day I will do. Nobody's ever asked me, so I'll just say it anyway. Nobody's ever asked me, but like, what would make me like quit doing YouTube? Hopefully somebody asked me that question one day in my career. But what would make me quit is a large sum of money. Maybe just in general, a very large sum of money would probably make me retire. But also, I would then hope that I would do bigger things, not necessarily better, because I love this, but bigger things in like a game studio or something. So yeah. The Stu Mocker life theory is so dumb. I thought it was when I was a kid. It was such a dumb theory. He was never planned to be in 3 in the first place. I saw that whole back and forth thing with Stu in 3. The thing that I don't understand with that back and forth with that is like Matthew Lillard has said, like he was going to be alive. And so I don't like somebody has to be lying, right? Or some sort of miscommunication. I hope there's eventually a Scream X with careful planning. Love good writers. Hope they get paid more. Yeah, totally. And Scream X also has such a great ring to it, by the way. But yeah, no, there's definitely, like I said, hopefully people didn't take what I said out of context and stuff. There are great writers, and things are built on the writing. Games, movies, television, like it's all about the writing. At the same time, there is something that it makes me upset when these writers talk about how important they are, which sounds very like egotistical, by the way. But when they talk about how important they are, then can't you just turn it around? And I imagine Hollywood probably does do that. Whoever's negotiating against the writers may be telling them, okay, you keep saying how important you are, and you're right, but so much of the content is garbage. So you're not good. So why would we want to hire you? And now we have an out because this whole strike. So I'm like, that's just what really bugs me. I want a fair deal. I want the talent to be paid and to work. That's what I want. Anybody that's got talent in Hollywood, I want them working and I want them paid adequately for that work. But at the same time, if you're not talented, and I think most of them, the majority, maybe 51%, I think probably are not, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell those people. So, the Fast and Furious was rebooted with, yeah. How can I am literally, Carl, I'm watching them right now. It's actually one of my favorite film franchises of all time. I just watched 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and tonight I'm watching Hobbs and Shaw. I don't need to watch Fast 1 through 4, even though I do like 1. You're right. That's actually, 1 was great, 2 is bad, 3 is bad. I never liked Tokyo Drift. 4 is pretty bad, and then 5 did kick it off. But has it made a trilogy? 5, 6, 7, yeah, I guess 8, 9, 10, part 1 and part 2. Fast and Furious literally did it. Yep, you're right. You're right. Hobbs and Shaw doesn't count because it's separate. I find it funny that people fell in love with Jenna Ortega after Wednesday, and now they're getting tired of her because she's almost an. Yeah, honestly, I think that's the way that it kind of like in modern day social media. I think that's how it works. But like Twitter is so dumb. There are so many dumb people on Twitter, and it's so much about trends and stuff. And we've talked about it with like the Scream, some of, not all of, but some of like the Scream Twitter. But you like can see it in real time. This like wave of, oh, she's underrated. Oh, I wish she was in more stuff. Oh, she's talented, but people don't know about her. Then there's the whole like, yes, queen, like, she's the best, and let's literally worship her. There's something honestly a little like mentally unstable about that, by the way, like thinking these people are like gods and stuff, which happens for a lot of them. So then you have that era, which is kind of where we are with her, but we're kind of at the end of it because then you have like writers picking on her, which again, bring up the writer's strike of these writers saying, hey, hire us so Jenna can fix our scripts. So you're telling me that you suck, and Jenna would fix your scripts anyway. So why are you negotiating in the first place anyway? But you know what I mean? So I think we're at kind of the tail end of the Jenna is like everything train. And eventually we're going to get into, oh, now she's overrated. Oh, now she's in everything. Well, she is in everything. She is in everything. She's overrated, all this stuff. And it's like you kind of can see it in real time. But really, with her as a person, nothing's really changed. I think she's still talented, just like she was a while ago, just like she is, just like she will be. So I don't know. But we are that is literally social media for you. And I don't know. I think it would be like that for like a Johnny Depp thing too, where it's like if he was in Pirates 6, everybody would be so for it. I think the people with brains, and then but then like something would probably change, and people would be like, "Oh, this is over." I don't know. I don't know. I think it's definitely happened before, and it'll happen again. If Sydney returns, how do you think she'll be written in the narrative? Well, I think for 6, she was just going to be written because they were going after everybody that had something to do with Richie, and that's probably like if you wanted very little change in the script of 6, that's probably what you would have done. You could always, I think you could always go back to the original in the sense that you can always have a ghost face that wants to like wipe out all the survivors. Like that's what I had pitched. going into 6 is a Ghostface killer that wants to kill all of the survivors of the past, the failures of the past killers. And you could look at that as like an obsession thing where they're obsessing over the past killers, like they're fans of them and they want to do the job like right. Something like that. So I think you can always do that. You can't do it every time, but like whenever you need something, you could always go back to that. And that's how you can get Sydney in because she's the original. She is the original, right? She's the one. So even killing Sam, like, okay, you killed Sam, but did you kill the original? There's something powerful about that, right? So that's how I think that's like and maybe that's cheap, maybe that's cliche or whatever, but that is so easily done. I think you can do it whenever you want. Sydney Gale Kirby must not die. I'm with you. I think Kirby probably could die, and I think she would be in danger if she appeared like in the next one. But I don't think. I think she's so good. I think she's so good. Sydney has to lose something or taken from her in order to return. That's true. Unless they like kidnap her. Unless they literally tie her up and then drop her off, and then she escapes and she meets up with Sam and gang. But that'd be like a heist kind of. Like that's just like a different kind of film. Knowledge is not always power. Knowing too much about who is signed on for future movies can ruin the surprises. These are horror. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think just from like the talent level, though, they should think ahead of time. Like you have to. You know what I mean? It's a business. As a business, they have to look at it ahead of time and say, we would like this to be a trilogy. If it is a trilogy, who would be the stars of it? Okay, locate them. Now we need your signature so that you're locked in because we need the prices locked in. You're going to get bumps for every movie, all that stuff, but we need it locked in because we need to have forward thinking. So, you know what I mean? So in that sense, you need to prepare for that. If you're not preparing for that, I don't think you're like a serious movie studio. You can't have it like define you. You know what I mean? That can't make you like afraid to kill them. I think you should be able to kill them. And maybe it stops you from doing it, in which case I'd agree with you. But you know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense. If they do an anthology movie, they should do a Stab. I agree. I was actually going to say that. But I think Stab is just not as, like, it would not be as popular. So can you do an anthology thing with also a less popular thing? Can you do both of those at the same time? I don't know. Even though Richie died in Scream 5, he was a huge part of 6 and made him more integral. How'd you feel about it? Like, thinking back on it, I like it. I definitely like it. I actually think I would have chose Amber, to be honest with you. I think I would have chose Amber. Yet again, I don't really know what, like, I think Amber was the better psycho, but I actually really loved Richie. And I think also Jack Quaid is like a pretty like big talent. Like, you know what I mean? He also like really loves Scream. He does all that promotional kind of stuff for him. So I think it was the right move, honestly. I like it. I like the idea. I think he would be somewhat I think 7 would have to do with him as well. Like, you know, something that like got him to do it, you know, like a Roman to Billy kind of thing. No games and no shows overkill. No, I think you could 100% do a game and it would not be overkill. Because I don't even know who you'd be overkilling in that point. I don't think there's that many people. Well, maybe there are. The people that watch Scream movies, would they buy a Scream game? I guess that would be the question. You would hope yes, but I don't actually know. Do you think Gale and Kirby will come back for 7? Yes. I think Hayden would come back, like no matter what. She'd probably be the easiest to get. Most likely Gale will be part of 7. Sam and Tara will probably call Kirby if they're in trouble. Yeah. I think Hayden is the easiest to get, but Gale makes the most sense, like story-wise. Because if you bring back Kirby, like Kirby was a pretty integral part of 6. And if she comes back in 7 and she's kind of like slightly up from a cameo, but slightly down from what she did in 6, is that disappointing? Maybe it is. You know what I mean? I think Scream 4 is a great movie. Her Ghostface scene in 6 was incredible. It is. It is. Yeah. See, that's another thing. Like, I want to see. You can never see. I want to see what Wes Craven. And I mean, Kevin Williamson has talked about what that trilogy would have been, but let me see their 5 and 6, right? What's going on? The Force serves you well. Yeah, this is only Scream talk. It's a little weird, I guess, for a channel like mine, but I like to try to. I love talking Scream, so I try to just do uh, topic streams. Jenna outshined Melissa so much in Scream 5. I felt like they toned her character down in 6. Ooh, maybe. Maybe. I really liked her in 6. She just. Well, here's the thing. I really liked her in 6. She's not in. Like, she's in 6 a lot, but she's also, like, barely in 5. You know what I mean? So I don't think there was that much extra done. Well, like, she was a much bigger part of the final act and all that stuff. I think they elevated her in like a lot of ways, but I do think the plan was to make Sam like continue to elevate Sam. I just think they did better. Like I literally think they did better writing the character of Sam. I think they did better writing Chad and giving him like literally I'd say almost giving him stuff, maybe not even writing it. And then I mean I'll take it to my even though it's maybe controversial, I think Melissa literally acted better. Like I think she got better at her craft, which is shouldn't be that controversial to say, but we are in the Scream fandom where everything's controversial. Actors should kind of have like highs and lows and should like get better and then maybe take a step back and then get better again because like it's a job and you don't always do the job perfectly. Does that make sense? So it's not to me that big of a hot take to say she wasn't a great actor in 5, but then who knows what she did in the background. She literally brought it and she did better for 6. I don't think that's crazy to say, especially again when you think they're not robots. They don't, you know what I mean? It's not guaranteed that it's going to go one way. When you go to McDonald's, do you get exactly the same quality burger every single time? No, it's slightly, you know what I mean? So why does it have to be different for actors? So just to throw that out there. Yeah. This one. We talked about that in the beginning. I actually made a video on it too, but with the writing strike, I can't see the movie coming out in 2024, and Jenna ain't no way she's gonna be in Scream unless it's 2025 plus. But here's the thing: if Jenna, I mean, she just filmed that one with The Weeknd, right? And now she's doing Beetlejuice. I mean, she literally, I believe, goes from like project to project. I think you could find you because here's the thing: you just need like a 2-month window. That's it. You just need a 2-month window. She goes in, she films it. She could be doing another movie 3 days before the filming of Scream 7. And then she could do another movie 2 days after. You know what I mean? 2 days after the filming of Scream 7. You just need to find some small little thing. She could do promotion like she did when she did 5, where she's not even with the rest of them because she's filming Wednesday, right? That's what she was doing back then. She could do that again. Like you just got to find a 2-month. Is it 2? I mean, maybe a little bit longer, but just find a 2-month window in that schedule where it's free. And then she could literally be working every day the rest of the year. And that's who cares? Literally, who cares? You know what I mean? That's all you need. So does the writing strike affect? Yeah, it would affect any show or movie. It doesn't affect games. The games are not part of the Writers Guild. So yeah, it affects everything. Like I said, I mean, short term, it's not really going to affect much. But like, if it went on for like years, which I don't think it will, but if it went on for like years, then you would get to years later a patch of time where there'd be nothing coming out because everything is like multiple years ahead of time in Hollywood, right? Scream 7's coming out in 2025 and give it time to build the tension, rebuild the tension. Yeah. You know, like I've said before, I think that's probably the right. I mean, okay, so, I've said this in videos. Selfishly, I want 7 next year. Okay. From the channel, I miss it. Like, I miss I would want a lead up to a Scream movie every year. From the trailer, breaking it down, doing live streams, making videos on a personal satisfaction level. I love it. It's some of my favorite things that I'm so happy I was able to do on the channel, and I want to do it more. Does that make sense? So from us, just a personal thing, I want it. Business wise, I mean, it definitely helps my channel. I get subscribers. super chats, videos do a lot of views. You know, there is absolutely that side of it as well. From what makes the most sense, what is best for the movies is giving it some time. Like I agree with that. You know what I mean? So it's tough. I'm very conflicted because I want it to be the best it can be. And I think that means giving it time. But at the same time, I want it like now. But also, I think Paramount wants it now. I think they're kind of in a. I don't think they don't want it for the same reason that I want it. They want it because of money. They see that payday and they see, oh my God, we can make 100 and however many based off a $30 million budget. We can do that every year. We got 30 million in the bank right now. You know what I mean? So that's how they look at it easily. They're just milking it. I don't look at it the same. The Scream won't come out when. Yeah, we'll have to see how Superman Legacy does. I think it'll do well, but will it get like $1 billion? I don't know. Yeah, I don't default to the Scream game like Friday or Dead by Daylight. I think that's the most realistic of what a Scream game would be, but I absolutely don't think it needs to be that. And I wouldn't do that. If you gave me a large sum of money, I would not make that. This movie needs its time. It can give and end this trilogy on a high. Agreed. I'm a fan of Ethan. That line was good, I'd say. Hopefully whoever writes works on Screamside doesn't pull a Halloween ends. I hated kills too. I hated kills, I hated ends. So that's just me. It would have been better if there wasn't a stew theory. They would have surprised us instead. One plays as a ghost face and four. Yeah. I think, and I've said this before, I think you could do a super massive games, makers of Until Dawn and The Quarry and stuff, which David Arquette was in The Quarry, and Hayden Panettiere was in Until Dawn, where it's a choice-based game. and they can make it where you play as Ghostface or you play as a survivor. You get phone calls. You pick the dialogue that your character will say. You have you can impact the choices. So maybe you can save somebody that's being chased, and if you save them, that affects something later on in the game. Versus if you let them die, you have to escape. Maybe you can get injured. There'd have to be some limits, like you can't die at certain times. So maybe you could die at the end. Multiple endings, things like I think that is the best idea for a Scream game. I do not think a multiplayer running around where it's you versus 4 or 5 others. I cannot be told that that's a better idea than a story-driven. You get Roger or Mike Vaughn or something to do the voice of Ghostface. Multiple decisions, multiple characters. Maybe you can play as more than one of them, or maybe you just play as the final girl. You can't tell me that's a worse idea than the multiplayer thing, you know? What's up? Pedro Pascal is almost... Pedro Pascal is seeing that now. I think Pedro, Jenna, all the Fast movies are connected. They want Pedro as Wario and that would be freaking sweet. That would be sweet. I need Waluigi, to be honest with you. Denzel Washington, Ghostface reveal in full Training Day mode, make it happen. I don't know if Denzel would do it. Yeah, Fast and Furious, don't forget, it's all about family. The new Scream fans kind of have worst opinions. They keep on asking to kill off Sid and Gale in the series about survival, and Wes never planned to kill them. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You could very much argue the whole, parallels. And I think that's why people were kind of not afraid. We're mad with Dewey because, you could make the argument. You definitely could. Would Wes have done it? Wes is dead. That's true. Sydney and Gale also have their happy ending. No way either died. Yeah, I can't see either of them dying. Want a new mask and new costume. Well, I like the aging thing. I don't know, but again, you have to think about like branding too, even just like licenses and what's popular. I don't think you can do a Ghostface mask as well. Like if you're going to ask for a brand new mask, say you also want it to not even be called Ghostface, say you don't want Roger voicing it, is it Scream? Is it actually Scream? It's not. You're making something else. That's fine, but why would you make Scream go into that direction. You know what I mean? Maybe it's the right idea, but then you also have to think about the money. Like Scream has power, the name, nostalgia. I mean, it's just this is the way Hollywood works. You know what I mean? How do you feel about the fear of Jill still being alive? I mean, same as Stu. I think she's dead. I love Emma Roberts. I think she's great as Jill, but I would say keep her dead. You know, Scream. Yeah, I Scream during Christmas would be freaking sweet. And I mean, you just did Halloween, so like there is clearly opportunity for themes, and so I think you could do it. That's true. Courtney being a producer. Sydney, I think, is literally the most safe out of any of them. Because I think Courtney Cox would be willing to let Gail die. Like, I think that's a thing that could happen, and she would be okay with it. Nev is literally not okay with it, which I agree with her. And so, yeah. Sam versus Sydney in the end game. Oh, man, that would be neat. That would be neat. It has to make sense, though. Like, why Sam would do that, right? Screams that should never be said during Christmas. That'd be whack. Well, I think maybe just the idea of like snow. Like it doesn't have to be like on Christmas. Like they don't have to be dressed up like Santa. It doesn't have to be like, oh, Christmas Day, somebody died. Like, you know, like you could just do it during the winter. You know what I mean? They can bring back Sydney in 7 if Leslie Mocker is the mastermind. Yeah, you could. Like I said, I think it's just very easy. I think you can bring back Sydney literally whenever you want. I guess some reasons would be better than others for sure, but I think you could bring her back very easily. Is the only possible release for Scream 7? I don't think so. I think if you can film, well, just look at the numbers, right? If you can film this thing in early 2024, the movie could come out by Christmas. You got to remember. I mean, I think this is pretty apparent. You just need that space of time for them to film. That's it. You just need, and like I guess you also need radio silence, right? So you need to find like a gap in their schedule. You need literally for Melissa Barrera to have 2 to 3 months of time. That's it. She could work the day before that on a different movie, and she could work the day after on a different movie. But you just need her for those 2 to 3 months, and you're done. She doesn't have to be, in fact, she won't be, in post-production. She could be filming another movie while doing marketing for Scream 7. All of that works. You know what I mean? They don't need them for that. They just need, I think you can find that 2 to 3 month span. You know, I think you could. And I think they will try as hard as humanly possible. I think they are trying to find that as quickly as they can, like immediately. The new Scream movies, a habit of killers trying to come off too innocent, like Richie and the curly-haired guy in 6. Yeah, I think Ethan is who you're talking about for 6. Ethan, I definitely had a problem with kind of overcompensating, where it's like it's him, but the writing of it just did a really bad job of like, no, I'm not the killer. Look, I have like an evidence list of why I'm not, and it's like, it's too much. You're defending yourself so much that you actually have to be the killer. So, I would say in another way, like Billy was so obviously the killer, and he also really did very little to like prove that he wasn't. So you've kind of had both sides where it's just like you've had it blatantly obvious, and they don't care, or they've had it blatantly obvious and they're trying to overcompensate and say, no, I'm not the killer, which also still makes them the killer. You know what I mean? To expand your idea about Richie being important in 7, the Roman type character theory I had is someone told Richie and Amber about Billy being Sam's dad. Amber's explanation doesn't work. Yeah. You just have kind of like a not like a middleman, because I guess Richie kind of would be the middleman. You'd have somebody above him, right? That does there's been the idea of maybe the Dreadit, that's the site, right? That Dreadit thread that Amber and Richie, like somebody maybe set them up purposely. Somebody knew that Amber lived at that house, so she'd have this fascination with Stu. Knew Richie would be like an easy, so Richie has always had this like obsession with horror and fan films and stuff. So somebody needs to have known that and then hooked them up to start the whole thing, right? So a mastermind of sort. And I think that's probably what it'll be. Now, does that person have to be a blood relative of Sam? Because Roman was literally her brother, but also the mastermind. So do you need it both this time? Hopefully not. Hopefully you can deviate. That would be where you deviate. I've always compared Dewey's death to Barbosa's. Yes. Yeah, that's a good one. I think oh man, which one do I like? I love Barbosa's death in 5. Oh, sorry, whoever that was. Sorry, Nana. Sorry, but there's also no room. No, I agree with you. Ghostface has been on many Mortal Kombat fans short. Yeah. I don't know if Paramount would do it, to be honest with you. Well, here's the tough thing. See, Scream is so difficult because of like the Funkos and all this stuff. Because I don't know, Fun World, I don't know what the company is, right? But that RJ Torbert, or the fact that the mask and like Ghostface is basically separate from Scream, and then whoever owns the rights to Scream doesn't own those rights. I think that's like one too many jump. You know what I mean? I think it's separated too much, where either they all get confused or they just can't do it. You know what I mean? But I think that's why we've had, yet again, well, we had him in Call of Duty. He was in Call of Duty, Ghostface. So I think it's probably more possible now than ever. But obviously there's something kind of stopping. Even like a Sydney, like why there was never a Sydney Funko Pop, especially because there was a Ghostface one, but there was only ever one. And they never did a Sydney one because the rights of these characters and these properties for Scream, it's so freaking messy. So I would want that more than any. Trust me, if Ghostface was a character in Mortal Kombat 12 or Mortal Kombat 1, if that's what it's going to be called, that'd be freaking sick. I get the criticism about how Chad should have died when he got stabbed over and over, but let's not forget how many times Dewey should have died several times. Yeah, my only counter, as I've said before, Chad is the new Dewey. I think you have to look at them in the moment. So like when Dewey, what I'm getting at, Chad was stabbed so many more times than Dewey, it's not even close. But you have to think about the eras you're in. So like when Dewey died, but he didn't die, those stabs and the injuries on him were equivalent to modern day Chad being stabbed 50 times. Because nowadays, if you stab somebody, say 4 times in a horror movie, they're not dead. Whereas you would have killed them 20 years ago, right? So you have to think about it in the time. Dewey almost dying back then is the same because of the zeitgeist, because of where it is the same as Chad getting stabbed 50 times. Even though, like, we're looking at it now and saying, this is ridiculous, Chad should die. You would have also looked at it just as ridiculous back then because of the era that you're in. So it's a tough topic. I do like they've had a consistent release schedule. They should just do yearly. It's also the director's fault of the acting is bad. Yeah. Directors need to be able to see the vision. They need to be able to see like the final product. They need to see it for the fans. So if they see something's not it, they need to fix it, you know? I think everybody's kind of to blame. Although I do love Halloween Kills, that evil dies tonight. Oh my God, evil dies tonight. Yeah, no, I mean, for those that don't know her, Mike Myers, how do you Twixtor? Did I say your name? Nice name. Also nice profile picture. Absolutely no disrespect to people that, hopefully you guys understand. But for those that are new, I'm very open. Hopefully you guys maybe have been able to tell that over the last 54 minutes. If we don't have the same opinion, that is totally fine. Even when I disagree, when I'm reading these comments and say, well, I would do it some other way. That is not me telling you can't have an opinion. That's not me telling you you're wrong. I'm totally up for you guys not thinking the same way as me. As long as you respect what I'm saying, I will respect what you say. And you're welcome here. I'm not a channel that's gonna like I said. I hate a good part of the Scream Twitter community because they're so single-minded. If you disagree with them, they turn on you. And I don't have names, but they turn on you so quick, right? You have to agree like with the group. I'm strictly opposed to that. So We may agree on a lot, but we don't have to agree on everything. I think Radio Silence film should be a 4-parter. I like the idea of 7 being a part 1 and part 2 to kind of make fun of it, to be honest with you. Yeah, I like that idea a lot, actually. A Scream choice-based game with a new AI technology would be crazy because now you can literally communicate with NPCs with your voice. Oh, that'd be sweet. That'd be neat. There you go. See, mixing new technology with my idea. Loved having a big name like Dermot in Scream 6. Wonder who, yeah. Now I'm just kind of getting more familiar, really, when 6 came out, of just like how many things Dermot Mulroney has been in. Like he is pretty big in his work. That means 8 Cream would have to be a remake to the requel. Oh my god, yeah. It would get so messy. The monologues would just get progressively like insane. The person would literally have to be insane. Yeah, Gail did come close to death, but like they never were gonna kill her. You know what I mean? They were never gonna do it. Sam goes after Sydney for killing her dad. Ghostface Billy convinced her. Okay, I could see it. I could see that. You'd have to give her a really good reason to complete here. Okay, but here's the thing. If that happened, number one, you have to give her a really good reason for doing it, for going on this killing spree. Number two, you lose that character forever. So that is a really tough thing, I think, from the writers, where if you went down that path, we've said it before, and I will take it to my grave. You cannot have Sam kill an innocent person and turn her around after that. You lose her. So, you know what I mean? Like if she falls into this Billy hallucination and starts killing people, you cannot come back from that. I guess if she didn't kill anyone, she goes after Sydney first, and then Sydney snaps her out of it and say Sydney gets injured, but Sam doesn't kill her. Okay, you can still redeem Sam. But if she takes somebody out, you have to go to jail. You killed somebody, like I'm innocent. So you know what I mean? Like you cannot do that and then redeem her character. So if you make a choice like that, that's it for Sam. You've made the choice that Sam, after that movie, she's done. And that may be a great film. That may be but I don't know if they would do it. All right, my voice is definitely, or my throat is really starting to hurt. So we'll go just for a little bit longer, and then I'll head out. Maybe like 10, 15 more minutes. Okay, I'm going to try to wrap. If you guys have any questions, write it in the chat. Also, if you just do me a favor, leave a like. Just, leave a like on the video. That would help me a lot, both now and afterwards. Okay, let's just rapid fire. Do you think Scream 7, they'd actually include Sam and Tara's mom? I think they would. I think it's possible. I don't know how big of a part she'd play, but I do think they could do it. New Year's Eve, that'd be freaking sweet. Scream during Christmas leaves an opening for some very creative kills. Christmas lights, yeah. It doesn't have to be during Christmas. It has to be during Christmas season. So December, you know what I mean? You could still do the Christmas lights. Ain't no one want to film a movie in the cold. Well, you don't have to film it in the cold. It could all be fake. The snow could be fake. Keep it simple, not disturbing. Scream is good the way it is during summer setting, like a 4th of July. So you would want fireworks and 4th of July, but you wouldn't want Christmas lights and stuff. That's kind of the same thing. No, it doesn't need to be. It does not need to be a theme. It doesn't. You could put it on like a beach, by the way. That's kind of a theme all on its own. So, would love for the Scream franchise to focus on Kirby and her life while dealing with Ghostface killings after. I was reading it too fast. Would love for the Scream franchise to focus on Kirby and her life. Oh yeah, I think that's the tough thing. Like, how do you do that, right? Like, because everything's very expensive to make. So I think that would be a really cool thing to do. But how do you tell that story? Maybe like a comic. I actually think comics would be the way to go for that, because you wouldn't make a game based off Kirby. You can't really do a show. Again, like these things are very expensive, and you're not guaranteed to sell. Just a quick little 30-page comic or book, I think that's probably how you would tell a story like that, to be honest with you. I'd love to see a Ghostface cult. I don't need Stu to be the leader at all. Yeah, Stu doesn't have to be the leader, but you can sell a cult. I would love Scream to come back on television, go back to where season 2 left off. Agreed. I want it back. My martial arts is like it's a mix of 7 different styles. So like taekwondo, aikido, karate, jujitsu, things like that. The guy who taught me got black belts in all. He got black belts in like 10 different styles. Took the best of all of them, put it into one style, and that's what my style is. Ghostface is already clumsy. That's true. You have him like slipping on ice. That would be a little. That'd be a little cheesy, you know. I feel killer vibes from Mindy. Something's not right with her. Maybe you do it. With Scream 7, Sam and Tara's mom needs to have a vital role since she's the Maureen Prescott. Is she though? She's not the. Well, I guess. She gave birth to Sam by doing something. Let's say with Billy. All right, I could under. I don't think she's the same as Maureen, but in a sense, she kind of is. Danny, no, I am. I'll tell you this. I'm honestly strictly against Danny being a killer. I'm strictly against it. I think he'll honestly die very early on in. I think he'll die early on in 7 though. The last film went into Gail's parents, and yeah, and be interesting to see Gail with a family story. Maybe Gail has a sister and brother. Yeah, I don't know if you need to like extend it, but I like the found. I mean, I think they call it found family, right? The found family kind of element of it, and Gail and Sam. I think that's kind of that's a scene I actually forget happened like a lot in 6. When I think about the whole movie in my head, I oftentimes forget that, and I would like that. Killjoy Jake. Sam could be the anti-Ghostface going after other Ghostface. Yes. Well, okay. Well, number one, let me answer let me respond to the comment first, Jake, and then I'll shout you out. Number one, I agree with that, and I think that'd be freaking sweet. I'll just leave it there. No, number 2, great guy, Killjoy Jake. Make sure you guys subscribe to his channel. Jake, I'm gonna message you. I'm getting it together probably tonight. I'll message you the details on. Jake is actually gonna hopefully be on the channel on Friday. We're going to talk. I don't know if you guys know this. Maybe this would be a good time to tell you. There's that Texas Chainsaw Massacre game that's coming out. I've been covering it quite a bit on the channel. Jake, as well as a couple other creators that are more gaming oriented, but Jake does gaming too. We're going to talk about that game, Texas Chainsaw, on Friday. It'll just be a whole live stream on the game, maybe a little bit on the movie as well. So that should be a lot of fun. But I will message you, Jake, for that. I saw an interview with Radio Silence. Not sure if it was Dead Meat or we watched a movie. They said the Brand and James. Yes, I still have not. No, I think I did see it. I think I did see it like a week after that interview, but I don't really remember it. So maybe I didn't. I have to look for it. Yeah, that's a pretty cool little. That's a deep cut. Dude, I think. No, I don't think that. Well, I think they regret killing Randy. Period. I don't think they regret it more now than they did before. I think they probably really regretted it right around Scream 3, or even 4, because you would think like going into 4, having Jamie Kennedy come back too. That's probably when they missed it the most. But I think they miss it now, but I don't think they miss it more now than they did like 5 years ago, Blood covered snow. Yeah, there's something about, I'm a huge fan of water. We've talked about that. So ice is a form of water. Snow is a form of water. So that all qualifies when I talk about my obsession for water parks and the ocean and things. Like snow counts. So it would have an unfair advantage for me. You got to give it like a bonus point just because of the snow or water. If a game has water in it and the water is good looking, I give it bonus points in my head than it would if it didn't. There's a little inside info. So Texas Chainsaw gets no extra points because it won't have it. Unless they have like a lake in a map, but I don't think they're going to. Would you be okay with Drew Barry? No. Playing a TV host. She'd have to look really different. Like if she really wants to be in it and they really want to do it, you can't like see Casey Becker in her. You know what I mean? Like you'd have to. She almost had. I don't know what she'd have to do. You'd have to really make her look different, and also sound different. Like she'd have to put on an accent or something. Ghostface kidnaps Sid's kid. Yeah, kidnapping a family member always works. That's a tried and true method. Don't try it at home, but it's something that would work. Honestly, that would be a good idea. I do think they'll kill one of the core 4. I've said before, I think one of Tara or Sam goes, and I also think one of Mindy or Chad. Like I think you could kill 2 of the 4. To be honest with you, I think you could leave Scream 7 with 2 of them dead. Will Radio Silence do it? They seem very like almost too protective of their characters. So would they actually do it? Maybe not, but I think you could. No more Team Loomis, and let's get our murder on corny lines. I don't think Minnie and Chad would be the killers, as that's not in the Meeks bloodline. Yes, they take that very just like family is the most important for Fast and Furious. In a way, family is also very important for Scream. I'd say Fast did it better though. I'm just saying. Scream 7 on his cruise ship. That's like what was it? Murder on the Orient? No, Murder on the Orient Express was the train, right? With Johnny Depp. What was the one with the boat that they just did with Gal Gadot, and what was that one called? I don't remember. Is Orient Express? No, Express train. I don't know. What was that one called? Heck yeah. Would be okay with a Ghost Dewey or Ghostface mocking them with Dewey's voice, with the voice changer. I think I'd be a little bit more up for it now than I was in the past. I'd like Gail to have flashback. I would too. That's something I've been saying. I said that like a month after Scream 5, so I just want to put my stamp on it. I've been saying that for a while. I agree with that. I back you, Cal Quest. Love it. Love the name. I think the most outrageous theory I've ever heard is Randy faked his death. Yeah, that would be that's just not going to happen. Yeah, I think you could bring David Arquette back. Like Death on the Nile. Yes. I watched it. Did you watch it, Jake? I watched it. It was okay. I like Orient Express though. And can I spoil Orient Express? Does anybody care? I mean, it was like 7 years ago. I kind of knew. I won't spoil it. I didn't read the book, but I knew you could just see it, like what actually happened and who was going to die and whatnot. Let's see. Wild opinion. Maybe it's a wild opinion. Wild opening. Core 4 sitting here in a fam. Gale and Kirby are all attacked in different locations. We lose Kirby and half of the Core 4 and Mark bring survivors together to track down the killers. I would not like. I think you could pitch that. I think that would work, to be honest with you. 7 would be perfect timing for a dream sequence mimicking Scream 3 where we got the ghost. Yeah. Yes, that's very fair. You could. Yep, they did mention Dewey. Make Scream season 3. I thought you were going to say make Scream great again. Make Scream season 3. Do you think they regret killing Dewey? Listening to their interviews, yes. Listening to their interviews, I think. Well, actually, did they say that they would still do it again if they had the chance? Like, I feel like they said that. I think if you like really pressured them into an answer and you said, "Okay, you get a redo of 5," would you do it? I think they wouldn't do it again. That's my opinion. I do not think if they had a redo, knowing what they know, seeing it how they see it, making the films. I think if you really forced them and said you can have a redo, would you do it or not? I think they'd say no. We'll take it back. I think they would. Mindy's the mastermind. Oh man, that'd be something. I don't know if I'd like that. I really don't know if I'd like that at all. But I think it's honestly not super unlikely. Oh yeah, the 3rd season of Scream. I did a review on it. It's so bad. They said Ghostface more in the few episodes than the whole franchise. Yeah. And remember when I don't remember any of their names, but the girl killer, who actually she's pretty cool. I like her. But remember when they show like when she was actually in the outfit, it's in the hallway of the school, and she is just so skinny, and the mask is like so caved into her face, and the hood and everything's just like so squeezed because she weighs like 60 pounds. Do you remember that? But then like right before it, it's just like Ghostface and it's like a lot bigger. It's so freaking bad. It's so bad. Dewey should have had an epic emotional death in 7, even though I don't want him dead. Yeah, Dewey had a good run. Yeah, no, it was Death on the Nile. It was. That movie was okay. I remember the Gal Gadot thing that was going around online. Honestly, she wasn't bad in it. I won't spoil it. She's not in it much either, but there you go. All right, guys. I think this was good. No, honestly, I really appreciate you guys showing up. These are always a blast, especially we can go back and forth, bounce things off. So you never watch Scream Resurrection, you saved yourself. But no, honestly, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, on your way out if you would be so kind. I'll do it again. Definitely, we'll take a couple of weeks, but we'll definitely do more Scream live streams. I want to have guests on eventually. And like I said, Jake and a couple others will be on Friday for the Texas Chainsaw. So if you guys are into Texas Chainsaw or into the game, we'll be covering that on Friday. And I'll be covering the game just like period, but we'll be doing a live stream on Friday. Okay. So I appreciate you guys watching. More Scream videos every couple days. And then we'll do a live stream in another, few weeks or so. All right. Thanks for being here. And I'll see you all on the next one.